Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. It's Elsid932 on YouTube, and we are here for episode 5 of All's Fair. Okay, I will give you a little trigger warning right here when I am talking about a topic that could be possibly triggering. Okay, we are going to start off today with Carrington driving what looks to be her daughter, which we learn, to the school, and she's promising she's not going to miss her event. I was shocked to see Carrington with a daughter, but the actress they chose very much so is like Carrington, okay? Carrington is telling her daughter she's doing all this for her. She's missing events. She's doing all these things as a lawyer just to provide for her. Daughter's like, I don't care, but it sounds like you have a guilty conscience, Mom. And, the daughter says she's just inviting the nanny and her old music teacher because she has no friends from school. Now, Carrington got her some cupcakes for her to give out to the kids in school to invite them to the party. The daughter just slid that stuff to the side, to the other chair, and she ain't gonna do it. And so she asked about Uncle Sebastian and put a pin in that because she said, Uncle Sebastian helped bring her daughter into the world, and it's best to let him go and be with his wife that is addicted to substances. Let's put it that way. So the daughter gets out the car, leaves the cupcakes on the seat, and when Carrington, is yelling at her, happy birthday, and oh, you forgot your cupcakes, she sees her daughter is being iced out by the other girls in the school. Iced out, left out, and the car kind of like has this look of, oh my word, I can see myself in her. So we go back to the main characters, and they have a new client, which is Brooke Shields, the supermodel Brooke Shields. And she says that she wants to divorce her husband because he doesn't know who she is after 38 years of marriage. Okay? He thought she was the nurse the last time she saw him. She still loves him, but wants to divorce him. He has, early onset Alzheimer's, but he is living in a facility. She goes on to say her daughter is his guardian, and the daughter is against it and is refusing to let the mom out of the 40-year-old prenuptial agreement. Now, Brooke Shields thinks back. She met her husband in college when he was, having his residency. She was a freshman, and they married, and she got with child right after graduation. She said her life became supporting him, and she never felt taken for granted. They had a wonderful life. But 6 years ago is when he was diagnosed, and he is so far along, he has to be living in this facility. So Glenn Close is asking her, why divorce him? Why go through all of this right now? Why don't you just do your own thing? Brooke Shields says she's not free. She will still feel tethered. She will still feel responsible for him. She just wants a divorce so she can, be all she can be. This one kind of hits home for Glenn Close. Remember, her husband is ill. But it hits home for me, I don't think I would, divorce while I'm sitting across the table from the daughter we helped raise, who is my husband's guardian. It just, for me, this part, I could understand how someone may feel that way, but it felt a little bit distasteful to me. I'm not judging you. It's just what I wouldn't do, okay? It does mean something. Now, the ladies do sit together. You know how they have their lunch round table together. And they say, hey, the prenup is highly unbalanced. But they want to talk about Tanisi, about what happened in her case. Remember, the man who attacked her, he was found no longer living. She said, hey, I'm cool as a cucumber. Justice has been served. Let's move on. Let's help this client. So Naomi Watts says that the daughter will come around. This is what her mom wants. And Glenn Close said, hey, it's better or worse. Sickness and health till the end. And it means something. And if she didn't want, meaning the mother, Brooke Shields, if it didn't mean anything, she should not have married the man. And I said, ooh, Glenn Close, this is hitting hard for you. This is hitting hard because this is what you're going through with your husband. Now, Kim K says we need to go through this with a heartfelt approach. But they warn Naomi Watts not to tell these ladies or not let them smell in the water that she is embarking on her own prenuptial agreement journey. And Naomi Watts is like, no, 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 the doctor and I, we ain't doing that. We ain't signing that. They have waited forever for their love, and they are not going to sully it. They're not going to hedge their bets with a prenuptial agreement. So the ladies all looking at each other like, okay. Now we see Carr walking into a building, and she meets with a lady who is her client that chastises her for being late and sweating. I said, wait a minute, who are you, ma'am? So apparently it's a lawsuit of two residents, and Carr gets a message on her phone, and she starts to silently cry. And the client snaps at her, like, what the heck is wrong with you? And Carr is like, it's been a rough week, okay? It's been a rough week. So the client doesn't care. The client becomes Carr to Carr. She don't care. And before she can fire Carr to the judge, Carr quits and tells her off and walks out the way that Carr usually does. And the stenographer is there typing away at every piece of profanity-laced speech that Carr has to say on the way out. I wish I could read those transcripts. Now, outside, opposite counsel approaches Carr while she's having a smoke. And Carr, says it's about her 12-year-old daughter. It's her birthday today. And they are both sharing Carr's midlife crisis, she and her daughter. She says, her daughter's father popped up as a memory on her phone, and it made her lose her emotional control in the room. Now, the opposing counsel, the other lady, gives Carr her card and offers to be her backup and says, you can get through this with friends. But the thing is, you've got to ask for the help from friends. We see Naomi Watts. She's late for dinner with her fiance, and she wants that burger. She's been dreaming about it all week. But the restaurant has gone vegan. And she was like, oh, wait a minute. Who is the person that did this? She is outraged. She wants to lock them up. And the doctor's like, it's me. You're going to have to put the cuffs on me. He said, because he's an investor and this is something he is doing. Now, she done looked over, past the seat and saying, what is that? And he said, it's paperwork. I wanted to wait for dessert, but it's a prenuptial agreement. She is not thrilled. She is not thrilled, and you could see it in her face. Now, Carr meets with Kim Kardashian's soon-to-be ex-husband, her client, at his residence, and she's asking, how much is your ex-wife paying for this? And I'm like, why is she paying when he is, supposedly an NFL star with a few Super Bowl rings? He got his own money. Anyway, but she says she wants no more surprises with this upcoming divorce. And it's coming, up to the courts in about a couple weeks. Now, he's coming on to her a lot. He's making eyes at her. He's coming closer to her. And she's watching him. And she's, being flirtatious too. But she's keeping a little bit of distance. Then she, to push him back, she uses her words and say, what's up with your hair? It looks greasy. What's up with this ponytail? You need to wash it here and all that stuff. And he's like, well, why don't you wash it for me? And he sits down by the outside shower and she washes his hair. And she promises to end him if he gives her scurvies, okay? And she starts using the shampoo to not just rub his scalp, if y'all know what I mean. She's, touching his chest and going, she's standing behind him, touching his chest and going a little bit further forward, okay? Now, when she hands him the towel, after she's finished washing his hair, just washing his hair, he comes to, get real close enough to kiss her. And while she is approaching him she stops, pushes him back at the last minute. She's like, hey, I would have done this last week, but right now I'm trying not to be an embarrassment to myself or my daughter. Okay. Y'all remember, this is also the daughter's birthday. And here's where she is with this client. Okay. So she leaves. She is singing her heart out in the car. And she's speeding. And guess what happens? The blue lights flicker behind her and she is pulled over by a cop. He gives her the sobriety test. She can't even walk straight towards him. And then she gets the breathalyzer test. She fails that too. And guess what? She is placed in jail, wakes up in the detention, and makes bail courtesy of her new friend. She has to call the nanny while she's walking out and thank her for being there for the daughter on her birthday. And Carr tells the lawyer, the friend, why are you being nice to me? No one is nice to me. And the lawyer's like, I've been watching you for years and I've admired your veracity. Okay? And she says, either we keep fighting across the table or we team up. Carr is like, are you offering me to be a partner? Why? She's like, I want Kim K. Okay? Alora, the character. She's like, because she is taking all the high profile clients and she wants her to end. Okay? She wants her, legal practice to go under. She has all the dirt she needs on Alora, and Carrington representing the husband is what she needs to do it. Okay? The ladies are teaming up. The ladies are teaming up. Carr has a friend. Now we see that Kim K and Tiana Taylor has a scene together. Kim K said there is no legal duty requiring you to tell him that you are with child. But Tiana Taylor said, hey, he deserves to know. So this is a new surprise that Carr's like, I don't need any surprises. So Tiana Taylor calls Chase and he answers the phone. He looks, I thought he wasn't going to answer the phone. She tells him that she is expecting his child. He is silent. She has to say his name for him to give a reaction. And she's like, I'm having your kid. I'm having your kid. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a dad. She's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm having my kid. Not we having a kid. I'm going to raise this child as I see fit. She's having her baby. She's doing it her way. And she's just calling to let him know. Now he asks her, does my wife know? Does my wife know? And Tiana Taylor, Milan, just hangs up. And he is holding his head because he knows his wife will use this and he knows his lawyer will get on him. Now, there's a meeting with the mother and daughter to settle this divorce, the Brooke Shields case, and the daughter does not agree with her mom on abandoning the dad. He may know it's you, mom, on a deeper level. He may know your touch, your smell, your presence. And the mom is like, does he know you're, his daughter? But Brooke Shields does get up and go to her daughter, and she promises not to abandon the daughter, not to abandon them, and she just wants to live her life. She says the daughter is now the voice of her dad, and he would want his wife to be able to have some semblance of a life. Okay? Now, while walking out, Naomi Watts asked Brooke Shields, why did she sign the prenup all those years ago? And she's like, hey, it's because they didn't care. They were young. His parents insisted on it since they paid for his medical training and they had his inheritance. It was just paperwork, and they were committed to each other and not the paper. I think that was well said, well done, because Naomi Watts, yours is coming. Now, Carr and her daughter are in Carr's office, and the daughter's like, why am I here? Why am I here? So Carr says, hey, we are the same. We'd rather suffer in silence than ask for help. And guess what? The school sucks. And she's going to help her daughter transfer to a better school, and she will help her with her essay. Now, y'all, this is where the trigger warning starts. I will have, of course, trigger warning here. Please know this is a trigger warning. The daughter decides to write about Carr and how she used to be a cutter. She used to cut herself. Now, she wants to write how that affected her while growing up. Carr is stunned, but she supports her daughter. She says, what happens? This is the question. After they're going over and over about how to do this, and Carr is like, no, that's boring, that's snooze. Let's get deeper. Let's gather people on the first sentence. So the daughter is like, I wonder what will happen to me if you, mom, unalive yourself. And this, we find out, is why Carr wears the gloves. It is to hide the scars from her previous cutting. Now, I was stunned. I wondered why the gloves were an aesthetic for this character, and it's wonderfully placed. It's wonderfully told to us through her daughter. It is wonderful. I wouldn't have liked it if the other ladies brought it up, but it's a human moment with her and her daughter. I loved it. So they are writing a stellar piece for her to be able to transfer to a school that she will feel more comfortable. Carr, I like the fact that you listened to your daughter, you observed, you listened, and you made plans, and you are helping her achieve her goal. Now, Naomi Watts, the doctor, comes to her office and, she said she read in the Times that the vegan week was a success. He's like, even though some people didn't like it. Okay. She tells him of the client and how, the client just wanted more from her husband. She didn't say exactly who, but Naomi Watts says she's not going to blow their relationship over a piece of paper. She has made some changes to the prenup, but it's good, it's fair, and she thanks him. Now, his thing with the prenup is he's investing in this restaurant, all these other things, and he did not want her to feel the financial hit if any of those go under. Okay? He does offer to throw it in the shredder, but she says, hey, it's okay. And y'all, they do kiss and they have a wonderful afternoon together. Kim K is in her office and Niecy Nash Betts runs in saying, hey, it's about to hit the fan. A detective walks in with a warrant for computers and all electronic devices. Now, Kim says all of this is protected under attorney-client privilege, so you need a separate warrant. And the detective said, here's that separate warrant. I got it. Okay, I came here correct. So it is about the crime of Lloyd Walton. This is the man who attacked Niecy Nash Betts. Okay. So the detective sits alone with Kim K, and I thought that was weird. You are a lawyer. Why are you not sitting with counsel? Okay. But she's saying on how they searched for the man. Like they know that Kim K and the team searched for the man who is no longer living. Now, Kim K is like, all that is circumstantial evidence. We did this because he attacked our colleague and y'all did nothing about it. So it was a team effort. So why the heck are you just talking to me? The detective says, I'll talk with all of you, but I'm going to start with you because of this. Your phone pinged close to where the guy was deceased. And Kim K is like, okay, alrighty. And the detective thinks she's chewing on a bone. And Kim K is like, hey, my former secretary, who is pregnant by my soon-to-be ex-husband, she lives out there. She lives in that neighborhood. And I feel like, a sense of responsibility. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm human. And the detective kind of like pulls back a little bit, almost like she doesn't, believe her. Then Glenn Close walks in and says, this interview is over. It is done. Why are you here without counsel? Thank you, Glenn Close. Please tell her. And she addresses the detective and say, why would these women all of a sudden be committing this crime or any crime? Come on, think about it. The detective asked Glenn Close about her connection with the deceased. And Glenn Close said, listen to me. Listen to me. If we committed this crime, we would have been much better at it. I said, you better tell her. When the detective walks out, Glenn Close reminds Kim K, keep your mouth shut and close ranks. This is what's happening. Now, Carr does go visit her daughter's father, and she asks him, she brought Martinelli because, she can't really drink. Okay, that's the sparkling cider, basically sparkling apple juice. And she asks him, when did it get weird between us? They had a non-traditional girl-gay relationship for 10 years. And I said, wait a minute. We had a lavender marriage, Carr? Is that what we had, Carr? A lavender marriage? He said, you sued my husband for child endangerment. That's when it got weird. And Carr's like, hey, he took our daughter on a miles-long hike. She got asthma, and it was without her inhaler. He's like, without her backup inhaler. But she is there to invite him to the daughter's birthday party. And he said immediately he will be there. He said he thought he was going to get an apology from her. She said she hated his husband. And she talked about the husband like he was less than trash. Now, Sebastian, the father, says the husband reminded him of Carr when she was younger and when he really did love her, and reminded him also of why he divorced her. He says, 1 minute you're there and the other minute you're gone and you're taking the sun away. You drop people. They don't know why you're gone. You're just gone. And they don't know what they did or if you're mad at them. He said he loves his daughter. He may not be her dad, but she is biologically his. It was a wonderful scene, y'all. Wonderful scene. I'll probably have clips of it in my shorts. It was wonderfully done. He said, we ain't Will and Grace no more. I said, no, you didn't. Carr agrees that she sucks, okay? She sucks at a lot of things. She's too hard, too blunt, and it's who she was raised to be. And now I'm like, who raised you, Carr? Who raised you? Okay? She says this is the moment she is trying and she needs help raising their daughter. She wants to be better and do better for her. He gently curses her out. He's like, yes, you are this, you are that, you are beep, and he gets closer and they hug it out. I thought they were going to go in for another kid, but they do hug it out. We see Glenn Close sitting with her husband in the bed. He is sick, remember? He is, suffering and passing away from cancer. He asks for more medication and she gives it to him. And she's sitting there just, watching him and being in his presence. And he said, hey, I think there's only going to be bad days ahead. And she's like, no, no, no. We're going to soldier on. We're going to get through this. She is so optimistic, and he is not in his speech. He does say he has a confession to make. We're at the end. It's time to say goodbye. The doctor told him weeks ago it was time to get his affairs in order and say goodbye, but he could not tell her. She's like, okay, we'll find another doctor. We'll find other trial medication. He says, I need you to be strong right now. I need you to be strong. He holds her hand, and she is just sitting there, and they're just breathing together. It's a beautiful, subtle moment. And he said, hey, I just need to close my eyes, because it feels better when I close my eyes. And they are holding hands on his chest. And I believe he goes to sleep. But I don't know, y'all. I don't know if he passed away or if he just went to sleep. Because what happens next? She goes to the kitchen. She puts the kettle on the stove. Beautiful kitchen, by the way. And she is crying in the kitchen while, getting the tea leaves together in the smaller teapot. And then all of a sudden, she just starts throwing things. She swipes all the teacups and everything to the ground. She breaks a couple vases. She breaks another, large jug. She is screaming while the kettle is also whistling and screaming. And then she sits on the ground crying. I don't know if he passed away or if he just went to sleep. I just don't know. It was a beautifully done scene, beautifully done by two exceptional actors. I was left, it doesn't matter to me if he passed or if he's just asleep. Her reaction and his moments right there, whether it's his final or just his sleeping moments, was masterfully done, wonderfully done. Yo, that is the end of this week's episode. I hope you will continue to join me for these recaps because though it is being, tanked across the board, I think it addresses a lot of, certain topics, and it's a really good show. It may not be the exceptional acting of a scene, but it is definitely bringing up topics of conversation that need to be had. Y'all, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.